Welcome to week 10. This is slide for our lab session in this week. So this is the content of this slide. There are 7 things that I will teach you in this slide. First thing is a Linux image, how to download the virtual machine, how to set up the software of virtual machine, how to open the image, which is the image lineup by using software of virtual machine. I will also describe about the basic step of creating the database, the basic command of Linux, and the last one also describe about the sample code that maybe we can use in distinction task. Okay, Linux image. Okay, first thing we need to download the Linux image. So this is the URL. I think you can just copy paste the URL in the internet browser, and then you can automatically download the Linux image. So after that, you may download the virtual machine. So currently there are 2 options that you can use here. First thing, you can use a VMware. Second thing, you can use VirtualBox. So this is the link. So maybe you can choose which one you are prefer. But in this lab, I'm preferring VMware. So this is how we can set up the virtual machine, which is VirtualBox. In order to set up the VirtualBox, firstly you need to create the new button. Then after that we need to fill up the details of virtual machine that we will create, such as name, machine folder, type, and version. And also we need to describe how many memory size that we will use in this machine. And then we need to select the virtual hard disk drive that has been downloaded before, so that we can use as our virtual hard disk. And then finally we can create. If you are using VMware, so this is the procedure how to set up the software. Firstly, you need to click the button open the virtual machine. Then you need to navigate to the folder that store the Linux image, and then you just click it, choose it and click OK. After you set up, you can open the Linux image. Just straightforward, open the Linux image by using admin and username, and a password as a admin. And after that, you may open the MySQL Workbench as your database. After you open it, you may create the database. This is the basic step in how to creating the database. First thing, to create the new connection, open the connection, then you can create the new database, create the new table, and finally you may create the table relationship. For the test, please refer to the weekly online lab session, which is I will describe it later how to did our lab session for this week. So I also include the reference of Linux basic command. So this is the basic command that we can use. This is the sample code of our distinction task for this week. Actually, if you refer to the question, I give freedom to the student to use any kind of programming language, as long as you are using the virtual machine and the Linux image, because I want to make sure my student understand how to implement the database in the real environment. Usually in real environment, the database will be stored in the server, which is the OS for the server. Usually we use a Linux. So that's why in this case I'm using Python programming language. Actually we can use other than that, such as the C# and everything, but I'm preferring the Python. The reason I'm preferring the Python because it's easy to use, and then the OS that we use in our visual machine is quite outdated. So the best programming language that can meet in this requirement is the Python. So this is the sample code that we can use to solve our distinction task. Before we can implement this source code, we need to install or configure the software in our Linux image, such as the Visual Code, the Python itself, and the MySQL workbench. Generally, in order to run this programming language, firstly, we need to check the Python requirement. Is it the language of the Python is installed in the OS itself? I mean in the Linux image that we will use. So we need to check first. Second, we may download the software of Visual Code. So this is the URL that we can use to download the Visual Code. Then we can install the software in our virtual machine. After that, we may open the MySQL workbench in order to run the server. Of course, if you want to retrieve the data from database or use the data from the database, we need to make sure the server is running. In order to keep the server is running, we need to open it and click button run server. Then we can obtain the information of a MySQL workbench server, such as the username, password, and a host. After that, we may install the extension to Microsoft Visual Code, which is here we are install MySQL management extension in the software of Visual Code. After that, we may configure the MySQL management extension. Next, we need to install pip in the Visual Code. So this is the pip, the code, or the command that we use in order to install the pip in the Visual Code. Sudo apt get install python pip. Password is admin. After that, we may create the new folder and file in our Visual Code software. Then we need to set up other things such as the environment. So this is the command that we need to use. Then finally, we can code the Python file. So this is the source code that we can use in order to code the programming language. Later I will show you how to implement this thing in the Visual Code in Linux environment. Please make sure that you implement this in Linux environment. I didn't accept if you want to implement in the Microsoft OS, because I mean the Windows OS, because in real environment usually we implement the database system in Linux OS. So this video I will show you how I done this lab. Okay, previously I already show you uh, the example of the C sharp code. So now this example, if you want to implement in Python code, but I suggest you to code in Python, because actually I already tried by using the C sharp. The main issue is uh, the plugin that I need to install in the Ubuntu 14.04 is expired, which is not longer supported by the Microsoft. So this is give give me the main reason why I use Python, because I didn't worry enough about using Python in this virtual machine, because this virtual machine already installed the Python programming language. But before we we code this programming language in this virtual machine, we need to check it first. So this, to check Python, we need to open the terminal and then type the Python. Is it the message come out or not? So if it come out, there is no error. So that means this virtual machine there is a Python programming language inside this virtual machine. Okay. So now it's a turn. I show you how to download the software of Visual Code in this virtual machine. After you download by using this URL, you may install the software. Simply just right click, then you may open it by using Ubuntu Software Center. Okay, since I'm already installed the software in the virtual machine, the Ubuntu Software Center gives me option to reinstall. But if you first time to install the software, the button will be become as an install. So just click the button install, and then it will install in your virtual machine. Then you need to open up the software of MySQL Workbench server in order to run the server. And also we need to obtain the information of MySQL Workbench server, such as the username, the password, and then the host name. So this is the three main info that we need to retrieve for this server. Because after this we will install the extension in the Visual Code. So after the installation, we need to supply this information into the extension. Okay, so this is the information that I get here. User is root, hostname 127.0.0.1, and then the password is admin. So these three important that I obtain from MySQL Workbench server. Username root, password is admin, and then hostname 127.0.0.1. Okay, now we need to open up the Visual Code because you want to install the MySQL management extension in the Visual Code. Okay, click this button. This button for extension. Okay, please be in mind, please make sure your computer have good or stable internet connectivity, because the software, I mean the virtual machine, will download the extension or other things plugin by using your internet. If you don't have a good internet connectivity, it will be a problem to your software background. Okay, after you did the installation of the MySQL extension, you may configure the MySQL management extension itself. Okay, why I need to close and open it again? Because after installation, it will take time, so that's why I need to close it. I mean, I do actually I'm restart the software of Visual Studio Code. After the installation of the extension, you may see the part of MySQL extension. Okay, so this is the previous one that I already did it. So now I set up the new one, which I use actually basically I'm using some information. Okay, this is for username, and then this one is for the password, and this one is for port. I use the default value only. Now you can see the database inside MySQL Workbench from our Visual Code. Okay, now it's turn to install the pip. I need to open up the terminal in the Visual Code, then I will put the command string inside there. Just type sudo apt get install python pip, and then it will ask the password. Just type admin as the password. Like downloading, you know, everything, every step we go here, we need good or stable internet connectivity. If not, the background or software will be corrupted. After did the installation of pip, you may create the new folder and file. So here I'm choosing week 10. I will create the new folder inside the week 10 folder, and then the Python file I will put in inside the new created folder. choose the week 10 folder. Then I will create a new folder inside the week 10. And finally, I will create the Python file inside the new folder that has been created. So the new folder that I will create is called code folder 1. Now it's time to open up the terminal. So make sure the location of folder in the terminal here is same with the destination of the file. Now I want to create the Python visual environment. So this is the setup that we will go through. I'll just install the Python visual environment, and finally I will install the MySQL connector after the visual environment installation. The password, as usual, password is admin. After the Python installation, you can see there are new folder here they call env. So this is the folder for the visual environment. Now it's time to do the installation of MySQL connector. I understand. Maybe you see there are a lot of the procedure or setup that we need to configure. Actually, for your information, this is the normal things because the database actually is a isolate software compared to other system. That's why if you want to do something to the database, we need to have some kind like a connection between the programming language that we have been developed. So that's why we need to go through different kind of the procedure and the steps here. There is no so-called software until now. There is no so-called software that can that we can program it in and at the same time do the database connection in the same thing. No, we need to do the installation of the extension, the configuration of the extension, the configuration of the connection itself before we did the programming language. I mean, before we do the coding process. The reason is simple. The first thing, database is a isolated software compared to other software in the OS. Why? Because database is hold the data, and then usually uh, this kind of the software, I mean the database software system, we make the security, and then any software that want to make the connection to the database software system need to do the configuration things. This to ensure the security of the connection itself and the security of the data itself. We don't want the data leaking from the database software itself. Okay, now it's time to do the coding. So I already did the code, then you may refer to the code that have been developed. I just copy paste and paste in the file of the Python here. After did the coding, you may do the compile or execute the source code. How to execute the source code? Just type Python. After that, the name of the file. But please make sure the address of the terminal here is same thing with the folder there. So this is the output of this source code. It display the time lapse for the binding SQL and the non-binding SQL. So this source code will compare the time performance between this method. So this all for the demonstration for our lab session this week. So I hope you can try this thing at home, and then just make sure I want you to do this thing in the Linux environment. But if you have your option, you want to implement other program language, it's up to you. But the important things, I want you to implement this thing in the Linux environment, which is we are using the Ubuntu 14.04. Okay, thank you for your attention and have a nice day.